Okay, so let's continue. In this course now, we're going to start to turn our little jacket in here to a little bit of a trench coat, since we're working also with polygroups as the theme on our character. We're also going to explore knife cut brush a little bit and how we can reuse that to guide ZRemesher with the polygroups that it creates. So that may be a little bit confusing, but let's just go ahead and go show you what I mean. Now, if I hit Shift F, I go into solo, you can kind of see polygroups were made and everything, but maybe I want to make this a little bit sharper. So one thing you can do is hold Shift Control, left click, and just select that knife curve brush, and hold Shift Control, left click, drag. You can kind of maybe draw out a curve, left Alt, left Option while holding down left click. Kind of gives us a little bit of a Bezier curve. And now we got a little bit of more of a sharper piece here. So that's something that we can work with. Let's see if we can kind of show you again. And of course we hit Shift F to look wireframe. We can see a new polygroup has been put there. And that's important to look at because, you know, it's a different polygroup. We can then add, for example, crease the polygroup there, and which creates creases around here, so when I divide it, it will kind of go through. And once more, like we did before, we can also do things like go through ZRemesher and go through the whole process of once again remeshing everything. If I for example, say keep groups, detect edges, keep creases, maybe turn the smooth groups down a little bit. We can do another ZRemesh, and maybe you might have to do a couple of them, like to clean up some geometry, because you know the first try is always a little bit wonky, but it kind of builds off of what you make. So like if you see something like this, kind of undo and just kind of keep at it is the operating word here. Keep experimenting to different areas. One thing I do is change the target polygroup so that it can kind of go through and find something clean, and you kind of saw the progression of how I worked that out. If you get through, if you type it like a few, 4 or 5 times and you're still not getting what you want, kind of go all the way back. Maybe start with a different polygon count to get your way out there. So now that we have all of this, let's go ahead and just kind of elongate this all. So I'm going to hold down a mask like right here and just kind of mask out the sleeves here, because I'm going to use the move brush and I'm going to kind of drag this all down. Let's turn off solo, and if you want to take a moment to kind of bring back your guy, you can. I'm going to go into the move brush and kind of bring all this down. If you see something like that, don't worry, just go ahead and kind of bring it in and just kind of slowly but surely kind of bring everything closer in. And you know, you can just kind of bring this coat down. You can use, you know, snake hook, you can use any kind. Don't worry about the topology stretching, because again, we're just going to remesh all this. And we're just bringing this guy in. Okay. Let's see if we can also maybe, for the sake of argument, kind of do something about the mesh there. And you know, if you want, you can just hit ZRemesh again and we can get a nice little clean piece off of all this. Now, since everything is creased polygroups, it should be at least. If it's not and you see collapsing like right there, just go ahead and go for once again another creased polygroup, and we'll fill in that gap right there. And then, you know, just go ahead and give it a couple of divides. And this is where, you know, you can do another thing where you can create tears on here if you want, but it's sort of this buyer beware sort of thing. If you go through and create tears, I would do it at the very end, because one thing that I like to do is I like to sculpt out detail on here. I like to maybe, like for example, wrinkles we can do. And to do that, it would be much easier to do that with the utilization of, like for example, utilizing multiple subdivision levels. And if you're going to try and sculpt out tears with the knife curve brush, you're going to have to delete those subdivision levels. So I would just go ahead and just kind of save that towards the end, and keep yourself in, try to get all the work you need done while you still have the subdivisions available to you. So I'm just going to I'm holding left Alt and move and just kind of pushing this in a little bit deeper. Kind of gives us a little bit wiggle room to kind of make this slightly thinner. All right. So last thing we'll do here is you know, if you want, this is your call. You can just maybe do a quick little just glaze, lightly smooth the corners here, just to make it a little bit thinner. And then after that, we can go ahead and get started, maybe sculpting some detail on this jacket, and just sort of going about and having some fun with wrinkle sculpting and seeing what we could add to it. So with that said, let's stick around and stay tuned.